Morning Blues, I'm Laney, you're you. This is the Manchester's Blues show, or breakfast show. Sorry it's been a while, Happy New Year. Obviously, as many of you are aware, the passing of Colin Bell last night, or yesterday. So this show, like I said, I was going to be discussing my reaction to the Chelsea game, preview to the United match, but I've scrapped that. So just as a one-off, as a tribute to the man, it's basically a Colin Bell special. Morning Krista, how are you doing? Morning Dad. Basically I want you guys to educate me. My dad always spoke of Colin Bell, amongst many others, like Franny Lee, Summerby, Doyle, Troutman, Corrigan. You know, I could go on. He always spoke of that sort of era. And you know, especially in this day and age, you can look stuff up. You know, you can see clips and stuff. And I've seen like the hat trick he scored against United. I've seen the goal he scored against Chelsea, that volley. I've seen other clips, but I kind of get the feeling it'd be like me trying to tell my grandkids, you know, about how good David Silva was. You know, and in 40, 50 years' time, someone could look up David Silva and, yeah, they'd see the goal against Blackpool, they'd see the assist, and, you know, how he played against United when we beat him 6-1, but they'll never quite fully get just what he was like as a player, you know. So that's what I want from you guys today, basically. You know, I know not everybody's going to be of that era, you know. So just basically just drop us the comments on what you know about Colin Bell, your memories of him, memories of seeing him play, if you've met him, you know, anything like that. Just let us know in the comments. I have been doing a bit of research. I've seen some interviews and clips from other players. Jeff Hurst, for instance, he was doing an interview with is it Jimmy Hill, the guy with the bloody big chin, and it was after City had just beaten I think it was West Ham United, and Jimmy Hill was speaking to Jeff Hurst about him, and Jeff Hurst basically said that he was a 1 in a million player. You know, he was fantastic lung power. He always went on about his lung power. You know, he was saying all of it. 1 minute he was scoring goals. He was scoring as many as the strikers. And I think at that point, after the West Ham game that season, he was the top goal scorer in the First Division. You know, what is now the Premier League. He was the top goal scorer with 18 goals, which, considering he was a midfielder, was quite phenomenal. And he pointed out, you know, Jeff Hurst was saying he's making the strikers look bad because he's scoring so many goals, but then the next minute he's back defending, and then he can make 60, 70 yard runs without it seemingly bothering him at all. On top of that, he was good with his feet. He was just an unbelievable player. I've just seen as well about Malcolm Allison. Just Malcolm Allison talking about what he thought of Colin Bell. I just said he's a phenomenal athlete. Good in the air, 2 good feet. He could score goals. He could run all day. Just a great all-round player. And in his own words, Malcolm Allison said he'd pick him in his world team. You know, I remember when the Etihad was opened. You know, and the Colin Bell, we had the Colin Bell stand, and at the time I thought, well, he must be, you know, I know I'd heard of him, I knew he was a good player, but I don't think I ever really appreciated just how good he was. Let's just have a look at some of the comments coming through. So we got Chris Fonz, rest in peace, Colin Bell. Surely, Corn City, you can do it. Just play like I did Sunday, and you'll do it. Presume that's with reference to tonight. Jacqueline Hogg, morning Chris. It's a very sad day for all those Blues. We need to win tonight for Colin the King. I think it's very fitting. Like I said, when I was searching him last night, having a quick look on YouTube, wanted to see some clips of his. One of the first things that comes up is the hat-trick against United. And it's quite fitting that we're playing the Rags tonight. From Vincent Kompany's come out and said, anybody who plays for Man City, you hear about how good Colin Bell was and what he means to the club. So fingers crossed, whichever players get picked tonight to play against United, they won't just see it as a derby. I think they should give him the send-off he deserves. And hopefully we'll get a cracking good win tonight, 3 or 4. And I'm sure every goal will be dedicated to Colin. Morning, Neil. So sad to say about Colin Bell. What a legend. Yep. I mean, I saw comments from Lee Crooks, the former City defender. And obviously at the time when Lee Crooks joined the club as a youngster, players like him, and I know we've had Jim Whitley on the podcast before speaking about Colin Bell. He was the coach at the time. He was one of the coaches for the youngsters, which in a way I think that's something maybe the club lacks now. Could you imagine you're a youngster joining the club and the person training you is like Merlin, for instance, or Tevez, Zaba, Vincent Kompany, a legend. Having a club legend training the youngsters, it really does give them an appreciation for the club. I know Lee Crooks spoke very highly of him, taught him a lot of lessons. And I know Jim Whitley was the same, and nothing but praise for him. And apparently he was such a humble man as well. Bill Halls have put Nijinsky. From what I understand, Nijinsky is it was his nickname, and I just presume it's to do with his footwork. Obviously, the Nijinsky was the famous ballet dancer. But from what I could hear, despite Colin Bell being a fairly big and quite robust player, he was light on his feet as well, especially when it came to his ball control. So Christopher Fons, it's a biggie. I love these ones. Right, I didn't know much about him, but the YouTube video when we won the league with a 4-1 against Newcastle looks amazing. And everything we can appreciate his greatness to the fullest, like the ones who've seen him live or met the man. Yeah, I mean, I was privileged. I actually got to meet him once. Only the once, and it was the semi-final of the League Cup against United when we played them at Old Trafford. Obviously we'd beaten them. I think it was 2-1 in the first leg, or 1-0 in the first leg. Carlos Tevez, I remember he scored a penalty, but the second leg was at Old Trafford. And it was the first time I'd ever lashed out for hospitality tickets. It was like 250 odd quid or something daft. But it was your 3-course meal at the Etihad, programme, everything, transport to the game and back, blah, blah, blah. I was lucky enough to be sat on the table next to the League Cup winning side from the 70s. Or was it the 69, 70s? My mind's been working all night, so I'm a bit muddled up on my dates, don't worry. But yeah, all the legends from that era, Colin Bell, Buzzer, a lot of them, they were all there. And they were just true gentlemen. And Colin was one of them. He was a very humble man. And then we got to the Old Trafford, and I was sat right in front of him. There was him, I think it was Tommy Booth, and I think it was Tony Bucky was sat with him as well, just directly behind me. So it was nice to see that sort of, those players, huge Manchester City stars. I can't really imagine, in 50 years' time, going to an away match and turning around and the likes of Sergio Aguero and David Silva sat behind you. I don't think that would ever happen. But those guys, they lived and breathed Man City, and Colin was a true blue. Neil Horrell. Yeah, another legend. He will be missed, sadly. Morning, Anthony. Read his autobiography. Will tell you all about him. Humble man, but the greatest footballer in a City shirt. No disrespect to our current stars. Yeah, I think something you have to appreciate from that generation of football players is something that Fred Ayre said. I went watching, it was called An Evening with Manchester City. It was at the Lowry, and Fred Ayre was hosting, or comparing, whatever you want to think it. And I'm sure it was Tony Bucky was interviewing. He was asking questions to him, and he said 2 words that you don't hear in the dressing room these days that used to be spoken quite a lot about in their day, and it was mud and mortgage. And he's right, if you look at the players in those days, they'd catch the bus to training with the fans. I forget which City player it was. There was one City player. It's like they were getting ready for the game, and they were in the dressing room. They couldn't find him. It turned out he was in the pub across the street. One of the coaches went and fetched him in. He went on, scored a few goals, buggered off, and went back to the pub. You don't get that now. And mortgages, the footballers these days don't even pay. I mean, bloody Benjamin Mendy doesn't even pay his car insurance, let alone out else. But in those days, they were heroes, but they were working class heroes, if you like. They were on the same wavelength as every fan, and that's something that's missing from today's game. The ability that Colin Bell had on the pitch. If he was playing on the sort of carpet we're playing on now, he'd be phenomenally world class. He'd put players to shame. And obviously they did that with a bloody ball that wasn't aerodynamically perfect. They did it with football boots that were, worn every week, not a brand new pair every game sort of thing. They weren't moulded and scientifically designed. It was just a pair of shoes with studs in. Everything was just simpler. And he stood out from the crowd. Yeah, so we've got John. He studied the Kippax hundreds of times watching the King. Rest in peace, Colin. So when City tried to sign him, Malcolm Allison said he was useless to deter other clubs interested in signing him, and it worked. Signed him for £45,000 from Bury. Cheeky Allison. Tomorrow, morning blues. Sad day for all, but let's do it for Colin tonight. I think that's, I don't think United are going to know what's hit them tonight. Colin Pownell. I was named after him. Met him once at a supporters branch meeting in Blackpool. Could hardly get any words out. Legend. Yeah. Something in it when you get starstruck with, and yet he's such a humble man. Anthony Healy. Let's not forget no apology from, is that Buchan or Butchan, for the foul on Colin Bell. Dirty rag then and now. I have heard about that. I know my dad's always said about, obviously not just Colin Bell, there's been a few players over the years, but Colin Bell was one of those players with a career cut short, particularly by a dirty rag. So let's hope we get some redemption tonight. Neil Horrell, Paul Lake, Andy Hinchcliffe. Yeah, I know they were both coached as well by him at some point. Named after a racehorse because of his athletic ability. So is that Nijinsky? Oh, there you go. Thank you. Thanks for that, Phil. I always just thought it was the ballet dancer because of his fancy footwork. But yeah, belting. Something I didn't know. So there we go. Yeah, anyone who's as young as I am, named after the racehorse because of his athletic ability. From what I've heard, his athletic ability is something to behold. You know, he sounds, from what I can gather, his technical ability with the ball, his athletic ability, and his scoring ability, he kind of sounds like a mix between Yaya, David Silva, and James Milner, all in one. Which, that's a bloody good player, to say the least. You know, if you're a youngster out there and you want to aspire to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo, or you want to be the next Gareth Bale, or the next one, I think maybe we should start watching videos of Colin Bell. So I think he might be the from what I can gather, he sounds like better than most, modern and of his day. All the legends, Chris in 1976, Paul Power, Joe Brown. Morning, mate. Morning, folks. Sad day yesterday and today. Was glad to meet Colin twice. I'm very humbled. An absolute gent and one of the best to play the game and wear our shirt. Yeah. I know there was a suggestion, the idea of maybe retiring the number 8 shirt. But then, obviously, a lot of players have worn that shirt since. Some good, some bloody dreadful. But I honestly think I think unless a player dies, like we did with Matt Vivian Foe, you know, he was still a player at the club, and you know when he passed. So I think unless that happens, you know, a number shouldn't be retired just because somebody great once wore it. It should be used to inspire. You know, it's like the number 21 shirt now. Anyone who wears the 21 shirt at City, they'll always be told David Silva wore that. You know, do it proud. And I think it should be the same for, well, obviously it should be the same for most numbers on the back, but particularly the number 8 now. I know we've got Ilkay wearing it at the minute. I sometimes named Silky Ilky, but I can't remember who made the comment, but it'd be good to see Phil Foden wearing the number 8 shirt one day for City. Let me know. Or either him or maybe even Tommy Doyle. Another one who's blue through and through. Andrew Murphy, sorry mate. Morning, Laney. Such sad news. I was privileged to see Colin play in the flesh on a few occasions. He's one player from that era that could have possibly fitted into our current team. Oh, with his athleticism, he would have suited the high press. Nijinsky was a famous racehorse at the time and won the Derby in 1970. Little known Colin Bell fact, he once asked my mum how she turned him down. Shocking. Oh, that's shocking, Andrew. That is a juicy bit of gossip, that is. That's cracking. Why did she turn him down? Mum's not a United fan, is she? Let us know. Derek Martin, Colin Bell was named Nijinsky after the racehorse due to his stamina. Steve Leach, just watched the Colin Bell tribute video on YouTube. I had tears in my eyes watching it. So many happy memories from myself. and all my city mates of our generation. Rest in peace, King Colin. Can anyone let me know particularly why he's called King of the Kip-Axe? I know, obviously, yes, I know the Kip-Axe was, you know, one of the main stand, especially for the season ticket holders at Main Road. And obviously we know Colin was known as King Colin because he was the king. So is it just a combination of the two, or was there a specific reason? You know, did he go and celebrate particular to that? Did he? I don't know. Is there something specific about him and the Kip-Axe that I don't know about? Let us know. Paul Glennon, morning mate. Morning Chris, nice show about a lovely man. Sad day, let's hope we can give him a great send-off by beating United tonight. That's the intention. Paul Talbot. Colin Bell was the best player I've ever seen in a City shirt. My favourite player, a true City legend. May he rest in peace. Wayne Cram, yes, it was Martin Busham, or Buchan, or whatever his bloody name is, that ended his career. And yes, no apology. Typical dirty rag. I'm not going to swear. It's too early for swearing. Yeah, Joe Brown. So, yeah, what do people think of retiring the number? I don't think we should. I think it should be used to inspire the next generation and future generations to come. My dad just responded as well. Glyn Pardo was another one who had his career ended. So Joe's on the side of not retiring it. Totally agree. Matt Vivian-Foe was the right thing to do. We won't retire number 8. Better tributes we can pay to the legend. Yeah. Do you reckon he'll get a statue? I know he's got a stand. I mean, you've got a stand named after, and the good thing is, obviously, he got that stand named after him before he died. You know, he got to see his own stand, which to me, that's how you appreciate someone. You give them something while they're living, not just, oh, someone's died, oh, let's do something now. That's something that was good about City. We actually shown our appreciation for the man beforehand. Morning, Phil. Alex Harley was originally the king of the Kip-Axe because of his goals one year. Ah. Okay. So he was originally king of the Kip-Axe because of his goals one year. Right. Tamara, I agree with the number thing. It was different for when Foe died. Would be nice for a statue or something though. Paul Glennon just pointing out that Gundogan's wearing it well at the moment, the number 8 shirt. And Joe Brown would love to see a statue of Silva and Bell. That'd be quite good. Almost like one of those transitioning statues. That would be quite good. Two wonderful players. I'm not gonna keep going too long today. Just simply because, you know, I've had a long night at work. Oh, phone's gone. Oh dear. There we go. Told you, get sleepy, get clumsy. But yeah, been a long night at work, and then I've had my COVID vaccine this morning as well. So, a little sore, just need sleep. Ah, here we go. Phil. So the Kip-Axe was the City home to 20,000 Blues, and we had to have a king. In the 60s for one season it was Alex Harvey, and in the late 60s we needed a new king, and Colin was the best and he became the new king. Ah, right. I'll tell you what, if the Kip-Axe, I thought the Kip-Axe held more than 20,000, you know, when it was terraces. I honestly thought it had a lot more than that, but hey ho. It's still an impressive number for the, you know, when you think there was 20,000 could fit in the Kip-Axe. I've seen some of the you know, some of the sort of attendances from that era, and even in the early 90s, you know, in the Premier League era. You know, stadiums like Stamford Bridge, you'd be lucky to get 20,000 full stop, let alone 20,000 in one stand. I think Alex came after Colin, hold on. Morning, Lorraine. Yeah, hi. Joe, fair play doing the breakfast show after a long night's work. Yeah, nice one. Well, it's my wind down. What better way to soothe my head and get me to sleep than having a good chat about City. Oh. So apparently Alex, I think it was 1964ish and Colin came around 1966. So yeah, at its peak, the Kippax could hold 26,000. Jesus. And that included a couple in your pocket, I'm taking, I guess. Anyway, thanks. Like I said, I'm leaving it short and sweet this morning. I didn't really want to discuss anything else other than Colin. Thanks for joining me. You know, I know it's early. I hope everyone's staying safe with the new lockdown. There is, I'm sure I can find a link and post it. Manchester City's official website is putting like there is a web page on there where you can. There's like a book of remembrance for Colin. It's all online, you know, so it's thinking. I'll post the link on the page, and then you can write your wishes and stuff. I'm sure they'll forward it to his family. I think that's a nice touch. Obviously, we've got the rags tonight. There will be the watch along. I think Fielden's doing that tonight, so that'll be good, and hopefully we can give them a right good rollicking and do it for Colin. Now, usually I end these shows the same way, yeah. Usually with as City Dave always says, you know the rest. But today it's a special one. Now, I'm not a drinker, but I think on this one occasion, I'm going to raise a glass to the one, the only King Colin Bell. Take care, guys. Stay safe. And Colin, rest in peace, mate.